A ton to talk about today. Devers moves from Boston to San Francisco. We're going to break it all down. My man Shohei Ohtani is back on the mound. The LA Dodgers entertainment, if you want to call it, pissed off a lot of people. We have a Mount Rushmore. We have a whole bunch to do. So stay tuned for me and David Ardsma right now on Closers. What is going on, everybody? Your boy James the Greek is here. Yes, we were off last week. Not my fault. But we are back, and we have a whole lot to talk about. So let's bring in the world traveler, Mr. 69, David Ardsma. Ards, what's going on, pal? How are you?
Doing good, and welcome from beautiful Park Ridge, Illinois, Chicago, Illinois. I am
also known as Ron's house.
Ron squared, R squared. I'm at Andrea's parents' house. As you can see, a little different than my normal background, but same old DA, so I apologize for that.
Yeah, no pictures of Ryan Sandberg, just some nice china.
Just some beautiful china.
Very cool. Before we get started, wanted to get everybody updated on where you've been, what you're doing. Tell me about your little trip.
Where I've been, what I've been doing. Started in Boston. So flew out to Boston, went out to a Red Sox game. It was awesome. It was a great game. The Red Sox versus Rays last Monday, like a week ago Monday.
And as a former Red Sox, of course, you got to get some extra special stuff done.
Eric Orzi was there on the Rays, who was a top velocity guy. So I got to go hang out with him. Got to see a great baseball game. The Rays did win. Roman Anthony's major league debut as well. So that was pretty cool. And then from Boston, drove to Cooperstown, New York. Well, Cooperstown from baseballism. Guys throw them some love. They threw me some love while I was out there. So baseballism out in Cooperstown, New York, but went to the Hall of Fame and got to hang out there. And then JD started his Cooperstown baseball tournament, and the Savage did amazing, absolutely amazing. I was a part of one of the greatest baseball games I'd ever seen in my life. So Savage went 4-1 in pool play, got ranked 20th out of 102 teams, and 4-1. Played amazing. And then we went into the bracket play. We won our first bracket game against a San Diego baseball team. Went against a Colorado team. A bunch of kids from Cherry Creek area. You got to give them some love. The Colorado Prospects were an amazing baseball team. And the game, we lost 15-16 in the sixth inning on a walk-off, 2-out, 2-run home run. JD made this beautiful diving play in center field, had the game tying RBI in the sixth inning, and scored the game leading run in the sixth inning, which we thought was going to be the game winner until the walk-off. And it was so heartbreaking. It was an incredible moment to watch these boys grow. And Zach Newt was dominating the fifth inning through the sixth inning, gave up the home run, but he broke down, was crying on the mound. The whole team went and dogpiled him, and I picked him back up, got him going, and it was one of the most emotional post games I'd ever been a part of, to see this team of kids grow up together for years. They've played together for years. This isn't a travel ball team that got picked and perfect and brought these kids in to win a tournament. This team had been developed and grown together for years and years and years. Dude, some of these kids have been playing together since they were 6, and so this team had been built over years and developed, and it was so cool to watch. And lost the tournament, unfortunately. That Colorado team actually went on to the final 8 and did amazing. Then we drove from there, Niagara Falls, then down to Sandusky, Ohio. Went to Cedar Point. Half of the day got rained out, but went to Cedar Point and had some fun rides, some crazy rides.
Did you get to go on that one roller coaster?
There's 4 there. So the one, there is no just one, but there was 4. The tallest roller coaster or whatever.
That's the one I'm talking about. Did you get to go to that one?
We did that one. We did it's a Millennium Force is the one we did. And then we went to go do the crazy one that goes up and then up around and comes right back, and then we shoot you 120 miles an hour. We went to go get in line of that, and then it started raining and it shut down. So we didn't get to do that one. And then Andrew was like, hey, I got to come get you. And then we drove from Sandusky, Ohio to Chicago. So now we're in Chicago. So we hit 7 states. I drove the whole way. 7 states. We saw, okay, this is kind of cool. We saw Fenway Park. I'm trying to see if I can get all this. We saw Fenway Park. We went Cooperstown, obviously Doubleday Field and all of that. I'm trying to think. We went through we saw Notre Dame Stadium. We saw the Brown Stadium. We saw the Guardian Stadium. We saw the White Sox Stadium. We didn't get close enough to Soldier Field or Wrigley Field yet. We're going to go Wrigley. We saw Fenway. I think I told you Fenway. Anyways, it was just this incredible trip.
Not a bad deal, brother. It sounds like you've had a lot of fun over the last few days. A lot of driving, a lot of being tired.
It's been busy, and there's been a lot of baseball happening at the same time. But I've been a little bit more focused on 12U baseball because that's way more important. But there's been a lot of like amateur baseball and professional baseball that I've been missing.
Well, have you heard about this Rafael Devers character? I think we brought him up a couple of weeks ago.
I did get to see him play. I got to see him play 2 weeks ago.
As a member of what team?
The Red Sox.
The Red Sox. He ain't there no more.
No, that's what I heard. That's an interesting story.
Interesting story indeed. All right, let's get it started. Devers, we heard he had problems with the front office from the very beginning of the season. We'll talk about who's at fault. I still think that the Red Sox are a bit at fault for the way they started this whole thing off, but they ended up trading him to the San Francisco Giants. They got back a bag of balls because the Giants decided, hey, we're going to pick up this entire contract, which is awesome for the Red Sox. They don't have to worry about, eating some of that for a malcontent player, so that's good. But they didn't exactly get anything back. What did they get? Kyle Harrison and a bag of balls, and Harrison.
Kyle Harrison. They also got the starting pitcher. Oh my God! How am I brain dead on this? Oh my God! Who was it turned to reliever? I'm dying on.
Yeah, I'm in the same situation actually.
I've been still thinking about a 12-year-old baseball that I'm just not thinking about. Give me like half a second, I'll get it.
He was traded for Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison, and James Kidd
because he's on the IL. That's why it was like I'm like Jordan Hicks, right? Okay, yeah, Jordan Hicks.
Hey, I'm actually wondering about this. I never really realized this part. There's a guy named Jose Bayo.
Yes,
that. Got. Is that? I wonder if that's if he's related to Brian Bayo.
I do not believe they're related because I was reading about it several different times and I never saw anybody saying anything. But yeah.
So there's nothing going on over there. But the bottom line is they didn't get any, impact players over there. You got some guys who could be good, but you look at the last 3 monster trades with the really big players that the Red Sox have had. You're talking about Bogart, you're talking about Devers, and then you're talking about Mookie Betts, and they didn't get anything for those guys. The best guy they got was Benintendi, or not Benintendi, excuse me, Verdugo. I mean, they've had no. I'm not going to say luck. They've done nothing well when it comes to trading for these players. It's actually kind of pathetic if you look at how much the Yankees gave up to get Soto, how much the Nationals gave up to get Soto. And then you look at this guy who's a $300 million player. He's a great hitter, and you got nothing back.
Okay, so there's a couple things. One, the Bayos are not related at all. 2, they didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. That one was related to Scott Baio. My mistake.
Yes, definitely not. They didn't get as much back as you would imagine. But you're dealing with a player in Devers who wanted nothing to do with Boston, and everybody knew it, and they knew Boston wanted nothing to do with Devers. So when you're dealing with that, and you're dealing with that size contract, you're dealing with a whole lot of other issues. Basically, teams are viewing it as an opportunity to sign a free agent. Okay.
Yeah, but
so what is the chance of signing a free agent worth to them? Because there's no different than a Xander Bogaerts that went on the deal on free agency, and they just get an opportunity. They just get it. So they're paying for the exclusive rights to negotiate with this. That's the way I look at it is. And so if I'm Buster Posey and I'm the front office of the Giants, I'm telling Craig Breslow, I am paying for the exclusive rights to negotiate for this contract. That's it. It's like dealing with Japan. So
it's
that's
kind
what it
of
is.
different.
Not really. That's not what it is. You're just dealing with the exclusive rights to pay to have that contract. Nobody else gets the rights. So the exclusive rights for him are worth a very big signing for the Giants 2 years ago in Hicks. You're obviously dealing with the other starter, the number 4 prospect. I think is number 4 prospect in the Giants organization, and Bayo. And so that's what it was worth on the open market. Said, okay, we're going to take this contract. We're going to take the $30 million, whatever, the $300 million, and the rights to do that are worth why. I actually think this was a good deal for the Red Sox. I like the deal for the Red Sox. If you take Jordan Hicks, move him back to the bullpen, and he becomes like close to what he was with the Cardinals, you just got a monster in the back of that bullpen. You just got your closer. You've got your dude. Aroldis Chapman is having a comeback, incredible season at the age of 37. 13 saves. He has a 1.45 ERA. Your setup man, Garrett Wilcox, has a 2.89 ERA. Your other guy, Greg Wisser, has a 2.65. You have 2.1. You have 3. You have a bullpen. Now you're about to have a excuse my term, but a brick shit house bullpen. You're about to have the bullpen of the league, and you might even be trading Aroldis Chapman anyways. So you're about to have a bullpen built for future runs. And if to me, Jordan Hicks is not a starter anymore, move him to that bullpen. Plus, they have a rotation. You've got Crochet, you got Dobbs, Bayo, Giolito, you got Walker Buehler. You don't need more arms in that rotation. Plus, where does Hicks even fit? Like, are you going to put him ahead of Walker Buehler? Statistically, yes. In reality, no. Giolito, no. The statistics are the same, but Giolito's dealing right now. Bayo's obviously a huge part of your future. Crochet is the future of the team. And then you got Hunter Dobbins, who is young, just came up, but like he's pitching great. So he has nowhere in the rotation. He gets healthy with his toe. He comes back in the back of the bullpen, and you just have right now, you have the best rotation in the AL East, if not in all of the American League. You just got the best rotation in the American League. And what you got rid of was the migraine in the back of your head that you've been dealing with since spring training, and who's probably has always been a migraine for this team and been a problem for this team. You just didn't hear about it. Because these type of things, and when you have a player that all of a sudden will not move from third base to DH, even though you're arguably the worst third baseman in all of baseball, worst third baseman for sure last year in all of baseball. And then you won't move from DH to first base when other players on the team are verbally saying, I'll move. And other guys that are better than them and defensively are saying, I'll move. That doesn't just happen. That headache's been there. It's just maybe not like poked publicly, but it's there. And when you have a guy like Jarren Duran's basically just throwing him under the bus, saying, it's just the guy who got traded. We don't care. Like, we need to keep moving. And again, Jarren Duran is also maybe a little bit on that side of, I don't care. I really don't care. It could be anybody. But this seems to me like a team that looks at that and says, we're better without the migraine.
I cannot disagree with you more on so many of your points. Let me just get started. Here, number one, you talked about having the exclusive right to negotiate with the player. Well, the negotiation already happened a few years ago when he signed the free agent deal. So there is no the fact is the Red Sox had a lot of other GMs
did that. What players did they get when they got that? What players did they receive from themselves to do that?
Just let me go with this for a second. Give me a moment. So a lot of people are pissed off with the Red Sox because they didn't even know that Devers was available. They just went over there. And to me, if you're giving up a top 20 player in baseball and making your team significantly worse offensively, I want to at least go to every other team in baseball and talk to them and see what I can do. Now, do I think a lot of teams...
We have heard reports that other teams knew they was available.
Yeah, there were a lot of reports that a lot of people said that they didn't know that he was available, that it happened way too fast.
There was no actual reports from teams saying they were available. It's just publicly we didn't know he was available. That's the only reports we've ever heard. Publicly, we didn't know he was available. Privately, teams have come forward and said, yeah, we know.
Okay. Number two, you're talking about now you built up this really great bullpen. Okay, fine. Yes. A bullpen is very important to have. But did your team get closer to winning the division by trading him or not?
Yes, I actually think so, yes.
I think you're completely crazy if you believe that.
If you don't understand the dynamic of a clubhouse, you're crazy. The dynamic of a clubhouse, you need 26 men and a staff and a front office all moving in one direction. 25 men were moving in one direction. One man was pulling them down like a parachute.
Agreed. Okay, fine. But a lot of people, including the manager of that team, who is now, there are a lot of reports that there's rumbling between Craig Breslow and Alex Cora, and I am completely on Cora's side, that Cora is saying, wait a minute, we're supposed to be winning now, and Breslow is saying, no, I'm here to build this team for the future. So now you got a big problem over there.
I think the problem more is on Alex Cora. Alex Cora's never won. He won his very first year taking over somebody else's team. And you have a manager that is quickly approaching 500 as a career record. And if you take away his first year is well below 500, telling me anything, I don't want to hear it. But now don't talk to me when your career outside of 1 year is below 500.
You have.
I'm counterpointing here.
And that's
I
fine.
like Alex Cora.
You're supposed to do. That's the whole point.
Alex Cora is one of the best managers in baseball, but at some point,
I know you're playing devil's advocate
about it.
Yeah, it's totally fine. But here's the thing: from the very beginning, this was a problem made by Breslow because he didn't have the foresight to go and talk to his star player that he signed to a $300 million deal and saying, "Hey, listen, this is what we're thinking of doing. Are you okay with this? You deserve that as the face of the franchise."
I've got no argument there.
Okay, so all this could have been very quickly solved if all he did was say, hey, what do you think? And if he said, you know what, I don't know about this, I like playing third, maybe you don't sign Bregman and cause this problem. Maybe you realize, oh my God, I have a player who destroys other teams at the dish, sucks at third, but destroys other teams, and we're going to need him for the long haul. Because guess what? Now at the end of the year, you're talking about building a team and making it better. Now you don't have Devers. At the end of the year, you probably don't have Bregman because you only signed him to a 1-year deal. And you're going backwards. That's my big problem. This team was good enough to beat the Yankees. All you had to do was calm down this situation with Devers somehow. Now, if you couldn't do it, I totally understand, but you got to do better than that. Eat some of the contract, get some big players back. Something. And then this whole theory, and I don't know if you read this, that they traded Devers because the ownership wanted to buy a soccer player for their English soccer team. No, that's not happening.
That's East Coast media. That's Boston, New York media trying too hard.
Yeah, that's garbage. Believe me. If
they just want a sound quote from somebody having to answer that question.
Yeah, that's all it is. So I think this.
All I know. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're tied for a wild card, and we haven't heard of their names in the playoff conversation in a long time. It has only been a couple days, but they're tied for the wild card. This team is now, in the first time this year, going in the right direction.
But you made a point. It's only been a couple of days since he's been gone. The reason why they climbed back up into that wild card is because Devers was hitting the cover off the ball.
No, he wasn't. Not at all. Not at all. Over his last 7 days, Rafael Devers is the 179th best hitter in the league.
Dude, he's hitting 272 with 15 bombs.
Look at his last 7 days. It's 0.0 something.
Okay. Yes, his last 7 days, and right before that.
But that's what you're telling me is over the last 7 games, and he's only played 2 games in San Francisco. So over the last 7, when they were winning baseball games, he was his worst.
Yeah, but before
when they were winning, he was his worst, and when they were bad, he was his best.
What did he do against the Yankees when they swept the Yankees last week?
Well, let's look it up.
Okay, please do, and we'll see. You tell me.
Now we got to do it. Now we got to look while we're talking.
There's nothing wrong with that. You know me. I can talk all the time.
Worse than trying to look on Bing.
Well, you shouldn't use Bing.
Well, no, I have to use Bing because my Firefox doesn't allow me to look at some certain stats.
Oh, well, that's garbage.
Yeah, it's a pop-up menu that they block. But you look at Google, immediately type in Devers, and it's MLB.com Devers, so you know like every single stat. But you look at Bing, and Devers doesn't even show up. It's the weirdest thing how that doesn't even work. So let's look at this because I actually don't have the exact numbers. Against the New York Yankees, 1 for 4, 0 for 4, 1 for 3.
Okay, yeah, he didn't have the greatest, but what has he done?
He had total bases. He had 4 total bases because he hit a home run, but his stats have done nothing but go down. And then he had the first game. He had the first game with the Giants where everyone's like, "Oh my God, he's so great." He was 2 for 5. Then he was 0 for 3. You know, like I'm just saying, over the last 7 days when he was supposedly like playing his best, he was actually playing his worst. And again, it's 7 days. It's a major league season. 7 days is absolutely nothing. 7 days is like the equivalent of 1 drop in a water bottle.
Yeah.
So, I get it, but the team was so bad even with him playing well, and he has had a very good season. And Craig Breslow has not handled this right in any sort of manner at all.
He should be fired
until God no. But until he traded him, trading him was the best thing he did. And I actually believe the teams that he actually, I don't think every team knew that Devers was available. I don't think, because that's pretty normal. But I also understand Craig Breslow and the Red Sox are finally doing it right. It shouldn't be public that Devers is available. It shouldn't just be a giant thing out there. God no, because Devers doesn't even know he's available. He should not even know he's available. The Major League Baseball, he shouldn't go call the Angels and call everybody and just go, he's available. Well, guess what? The very first thing is going to happen. Devers is available. Craig Breslow is such a joke. He should be fired immediately. No, you call the teams, you call the places where you want the deals, and you know the players that you want, and you try to go get that deal. And then he did, and he got the deal. He felt like it was the best deal. There was other teams that knew, and they didn't have a good deal. And he ended up getting a deal that they thought was available, and the best deal again. But yes, they made the choice with him several years ago. They traded Mookie Betts. They got rid of Xander Bogaerts, and they chose Rafael Devers to be the future of their franchise. That was not Craig Breslow. They also, when they chose him to be the future of the franchise, didn't realize he was about to be the worst third baseman ever. So when they signed him, like, they thought he was actually going to be a defensive standard third baseman, and he's horrible. They were not signing a DH to that contract. That's the Devers problem too, and that's on Devers. And then when you sit there and you have to take over that contract, that wasn't your contract. Like if your uncle or your other uncle down in Philly took this contract over and he traded Devers, would you ever even question it? You'd say no. Dombrowski's doing what's best for the team, but everyone looks at Craig Breslow and goes, "Oh, he's doing what's worse for the team." If Dombrowski would have gone, "Dude, it's a bad deal with a bad player who doesn't want to be here," you wouldn't even question it. But I understand it's a first big move.
But he's not a bad player. That's the thing.
But no, what I mean is a bad egg. Like, he's a bad guy in the clubhouse for the Red Sox right now. That doesn't mean he's a bad guy. In the Red Sox clubhouse, he is hurting them more than his stats are helping them. There's a famous saying with the All Blacks down in New Zealand: "No dickheads." No dickheads. The All Blacks, actually the most famous, probably sports team in all, most successful sports team in all of sports.
I have no idea.
Exactly. You should look that up. The All Blacks.
I will.
They are incredible franchise, and they have a famous saying: "No dickheads." It does not matter how good you are. It doesn't matter if you're the greatest player in the world. If you're a dickhead, you're not allowed in this clubhouse. Well, Devers became a dickhead. Get him the F out of that clubhouse.
I guess they're not going to be signing Trevor Bauer anytime soon.
God, no. He's a dickhead. Don't sign him. Like, and Craig Breslow is upholding what most teams should be upholding. You become a dickhead, get the hell out of here.
I agree with you.
We can get 26 guys here that'll play together. Do the Rays need a Rafael Devers? No. Do the Red Sox need a Rafael Devers? And they've got more talent than the Rays. No. Sometimes
but you know who does?
One person pulling the wrong way, and it ruins the whole team.
But you know who does need a Rafael Devers? A Pittsburgh needs a Rafael Devers. Yeah. A Seattle needs a Rafael Devers. A Baltimore needs a Rafael Devers. And they have assets that are better than what you just got.
That doesn't mean they would move them.
Doesn't mean that they would move him, but who knows if those conversations needed to get.
Who knows if they didn't happen? Some good GMs actually don't tell people that those conversations happened.
All I'm saying is Kyle Harrison better become a damn good pitcher. And how do you make damn good pitchers, David Ardsma?
Top Velocity Pro.
Top Velocity Pro. So if you're the Boston Red Sox, if you're Craig Breslow, and you want Kyle Harrison to be good, don't sit here and send them to your staff. God knows you shouldn't send them anywhere near the Dodgers team.
Oh.
Just send them to David Ardsma so he can be the best pitcher, best player. No dickheads allowed. Top Velocity Pro.
Perfect. I couldn't even say it better myself.
There you go. All right. Now, speaking of dickheads, let's move on because we got a little bit of a problem in Major League Baseball that I think we've been hiding for way too long, and that is drugs in Major League Baseball. I'm not going to ask you to name names under any circumstances throughout this whole conversation, but you and I have both, and separate places, separate people, we have heard about many incidences with drugs in Major League Baseball. Why in the flying hell aren't they doing a better job testing players? So I don't know if the fans know how this works. Maybe you can explain how drug testing is done in baseball.
How drug testing is done in baseball. Now, there is essentially no drug testing in baseball. That's exactly how it happens, unless you are, I don't know what the best way to say it, right? We were over the phone, we were kind of struggling to say exactly what the terminology may be. But once you get caught, let's say if you're driving under the influence of a drug, or if you're in a bar like Josh Hamilton, maybe doing a line off of somebody's body, and somebody says, hey, police officer, that's probably not right. Or if you're somebody you get pulled over with a bunch of coke in your nose. Once you're arrested, once you're actually charged or a ticket or whatever you want to charge with something, then Major League Baseball can go in and test you. You have to go into a program and you can get tested more continuously. But outside of that, basically there's nothing they can do.
So the reason we bring this up is because now there has been a lot of talk over the last couple of weeks about Reds pitcher Wade Miley, who, based on conversations in court and affidavits and a lot of other text messages, they are saying that he was one of the people who provided drugs to Tyler Skaggs, God rest his soul, who died of a drug overdose. Eric Kay, who was the Angels director of media operations, I believe at the time, is now in jail for 20 years because he supplied Tyler Skaggs with some drugs that contained fentanyl. He ended up overdosing. Now, David, neither one of us are Boy Scouts, over here. Have you ever tried an illegal drug?
What? Random? Have I ever tried an illegal drug, James? Yes, I have tried.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if I've ever tried an illegal drug.
All right, then I won't bring you up. I have tried an illegal drug on very, very rare occasions, and it was given to me by someone. I was the one who chose to do said drug. Why? So if I go to my buddy, let's call him Sean, and I say, hey, Sean, listen, I want to get messed up tonight. Can you get me some Molly? So if I get Molly from Sean and I overdose, now Sean's got to go to jail. I'm the one who asked him for it. Like, if everybody who had an overdose had their friend arrested when they gave him the drug, there'd be millions of people in jail. Nobody just says, oh, guess what? I'm going to go get a drug tonight. You usually get it from your friends, correct?
I think what you're trying to get at here is Tyler Skaggs and that other people were supplying him with drugs, correct?
Yeah.
And that now they're going after those players.
Correct. And it's garbage. It's absolute garbage. Instead of testing guys like we should be for certain drugs, I don't think you should be testing for marijuana. It's legal in like 30 states now in some way, shape, or form. But if you're a cokehead There's no, and people know you're a cokehead. So, for example, based on what you said earlier, the team can say, oh, yeah, we know he's got a drug problem, but because of the rules of the players, of the collective bargaining agreement, we're not allowed to test him. So let's let this guy flush his career, flush his life down the toilet because we made a bad deal with the Players Association. That's ridiculous.
Okay, so that in this conversation, I don't agree that drugs of abuse are essentially the way they term it in Major League Baseball. Drugs of abuse, I don't think that it should be a free pass. At the same time, I never believe in any way possible. I don't believe that in certain jobs when they're not using like heavy equipment and stuff, or a doctor or other people's lives depend on you, that you should be tested, or you're not teaching kids, you're not working with kids or something. You shouldn't be. Your job should not require you to be tested for drugs. I don't agree with it. And that's just a business crossing a line to me. Okay. At the same time, because we can sit here and go, oh, they just care about their health. They just care about them. It's also infringing on your right to do whatever you want to do. And it's not an employer's job, and it's not their employer's place. I've always hated drug testing in positions and roles that didn't, you're not influencing anything. Now, at the same time, I feel like they do need to do more. And I never agreed with Major League Baseball getting rid of a lot of those issues. I've been on Major League teams. Marijuana is incredibly prevalent, and it shifted from smoking marijuana to doing like kind of like vape machines, vape pens. It was kind of funny playing in my career. I got to see like this whole weird transition of other people doing drugs, and it was incredibly prevalent. I never understood it. I didn't do it. I never tried it at the time, and I didn't care and all that stuff. And I just didn't understand like how people stay motivated, stay focused, and stay locked in. But then I understand that people are different mentally than me, and they need things to relax their brains because they're so focused and so locked in and so go, and their bodies are broken down and they need to be able to relax. When it came to other drugs, I had a feeling other people were doing it. But you never saw it. Like it's one of those things. If you're a part of it, you think everybody's doing it. If you're not, you don't think anybody's doing it because they don't talk about it. It's not like we walk in the old clubhouse and they're like, yeah, dude did a bump last night. It was amazing. Or you're just like, let's go bump up. There's nothing like that. People aren't talking like that.
But you have witnessed it at certain points.
Yes, I had witnessed it. And I don't understand how some of those people do it. That's what I remember. I actually, when you said it, now I remember seeing a couple of guys doing it.
Let me just jump in.
What I saw a lot more, James, and this actually gets into the Skaggs case, is painkillers.
Right. And a lot. And I wanted to bring it all around.
And a lot of painkillers, a lot of prescriptions getting passed around. And without a doubt, like me and my best friends, we passed prescriptions. It's definitely for anti-inflammatories. That was common practice.
Yeah.
But that's completely different. But painkillers, yeah. Dude, like you're dealing with stuff. Major League Baseball is a job where you were asked to do stuff to your body and destroy your body for the team and for a career and for your family. And there's times where you just have to take something to get through it. I pitched an entire month on codeine, an entire month, because I tore an adductor and I had to pitch, and I wasn't ever going to tell my team I was hurt, even though they knew I was hurt. They didn't care. Because I kept stepping on that mound. They were doing the best they can to make me feel better. And then I was on the side doing whatever I had to do to be on that mound. I was very careful about what I took, but I was also very careful about making sure I was on that mound.
Did you get that from a teammate?
No.
Okay. So
but at the same time, I had gotten that and given it to teammates.
Okay. So perfect. Are you now responsible for what they do?
I know. I shouldn't be. I shouldn't be.
And that's my whole point.
You're accepting the risk when you take it. Now, at the same time, something does happen. God, I would feel horrible.
Feel terrible. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. But it's still not your responsibility. Somebody else asked you for it. You gave it to them. You expect them to be responsible. But you mentioned one very important thing at the beginning of your little diatribe, talking about the difference between work and home and not being able to cross that line. There is one difference, though. He was going to work. He, pronouns, pal. Mr. Skaggs, Tyler Skaggs, was going to work and getting it at his place of work. That's the problem that I have with it. When you bring it into the clubhouse, that's when the line is no longer there. When it's being passed around in the clubhouse, and then you're the team and you say, oh, wait a minute, this guy's got a drug problem. I can't drug test him. Well, hold on. You should be able to, because he's doing it in your clubhouse, on your grounds, while they're at work. That's the difference.
Only if they catch you. Only if they know about it.
Only if they catch you. But obviously, a lot of people knew Skaggs had a problem with drugs. I don't
think here's the thing is when all this comes out after the fact, it sounds so much worse than in the fact during 100%. The moment. And we go, oh, everybody knew. No, like way Miley's getting pulled into this, right? And I don't know his full connection. We will not know unless he speaks, and even then we probably won't know what really. And we talked about Matt Harvey. Those were his boys. Those were me and my friends. So outside of that, probably no one else knew. Or like when you're just seeing him, probably 99% of what he was taking isn't illegal to take and isn't an illegal drug. It was the 1% that ended his life because that 1% was laced and that 1% caught him and that 1% was different than the 99% that he was doing just to stay on the field.
How bad is the problem in Major League Baseball?
I think the bigger problem is the nature of the game, and the nature of the game will never change. And any sport, it takes so much to play at a level, especially at a certain age level, that you're asking for everything from somebody. To give you everything, they have to fight and get through stuff with their bodies, and that'll never change. And the problem is this has always been this. Babe Ruth has dealt with this. Hank Aaron dealt with it. Those players in the 90s dealt with it, and they dealt with it in a different way by taking steroids. It made them feel better, but they also had to take a bunch of stuff to go to sleep and to come down from all that stuff. This is a problem that has always been there. So to say how big of a problem is, it's a sports problem that will never change because you have to get rid of the sport, or you have to tell players to stop playing for them to stop.
Well, they need to do something, because when you know that someone has a drug problem and you're not doing anything to stop it, you are an enabler. And that's what teams are doing by letting guys do this kind of stuff when they know about it. And Major League Baseball really needs to talk with the Players Association and say, hey, when we think there's a problem, we don't have to make it public, but something's got to change. This can't continue. It just can't.
Yeah, I don't think it's as big of a problem as this is. There's a painkiller problem. Then there's a illegal painkillers and illegal drug problem, and that's such a tiny. I think that's a tiny percentage. Painkiller problem is.
But I think there's a bigger problem with illicit drugs in baseball than we know. We have heard and seen a lot of people get caught with cocaine over the years. I mean, is it any more prevalent than regular society? Maybe, maybe not. I have no idea. But you're talking about guys with a lot of money. When you have a lot of money, you can put a lot of it up your nose. Let's call it what it is. They've got to figure out some way to discourage these players from doing it. And if that means changing the collective bargaining agreement and just saying, hey, you know what? We're going to drug test you just for cocaine, heroin, and crystal meth. Something. Let it be something. You don't have to include everything. We understand that guys are going to be on painkillers on occasion, but it's not really hard getting painkillers from your doctor, is it?
Yes, it's a lot harder than you would do it. It's
I've got some Percocet right now in my house if I wanted it.
Yeah, but why did you get it? Because you had something.
Yeah, I had surgery.
But you asked how difficult it is to get it from a doctor, right? Like to go to a doctor and say, I need Percocet. And they say, why? Pain. Just because I want it. That doesn't happen. That's not as prevalent as it used to be.
If you explain that you're in a lot of pain, they'll give it to you.
That's different. Yes, but you have to there's time, and you have to figure that out, and like that's not like you don't just show up and say I'm in a lot of pain. From what? Well, my body hurts. They're not good. They don't just throw out Percocet. I mean, but again, you have to create a relationship with these people. I don't think it's as big of a problem. It is. It just when it hits, you go, oh my God, it's a huge problem. It's not. These people aren't popping Percocets left and right. A lot of times it's just normal pain.
Well, all I know is that, in my opinion, there's a little bit of a problem in Major League Baseball. They need to clean it up. But it's funny, these guys, they're supposed to be role models, and that's a big problem. You don't want your role models being caught with drugs. You don't want little kids going to eBay, going to J&J Sports Cards to buy cards of players who are drug heads. You don't want that. Nobody's going out and buying a Josh Hamilton card. But if you do want great cards, go to J&J Sports Cards on eBay. We'll have the link on the description, and we're supposed to have a lower third, but I think my producer's kind of falling asleep on me. I don't know what the hell happened. But if you want really, really cool sports cards like this one, a beautiful first Bowman David Aardsma autographed card, you can find it on eBay. Not on my store, because I collect David Aardsma. I'm the only guy who does collect David Aardsma cards. Not even his children do. But if you like Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, the big boys, we got stuff for you on J&J Sports Cards, so go check it out on eBay. Now, David, we are going to talk about the thing that we've been talking about we've been waiting for 2 years. At least I have. He's back. Shohei Ohtani, the king of kings, the greatest player of all time, the man who went 50-50 and was only doing half his job because he was too injured to do the other half. All you Yankee fans who are telling me that Aaron Judge is the best player in baseball, sorry, it's this guy, Shohei Ohtani, who after 2 years got back on the mound against the Padres and was throwing BBs, 98, 99, 100 miles an hour for Shohei. David, what did you see when you saw Shohei's first appearance?
I saw a lot of movement. I saw the ball was coming out wonderful. Obviously, when you're sitting there throwing 100 miles an hour, what can you say? But I'm watching these pitches, and I'm watching tight spin, tight movement. It was pretty dang impressive. I am amazed this is how they're choosing to go about his rehab process is in live games, especially against like teams like the Padres, which is a amped up, hyped up stuff. One of your big things you want on rehab when you're dealing with the rehab process is to not hype up the innings, to be able to let the guys relax, let them just kind of do their thing and just throw. Because when you're doing this, you just need them to get their numbers, right? You just need pitches. You need 25 15, 25 pitches. When you're in these moments, you throw harder, you're focused, you're amped, everything's happening faster. It's the exact opposite I want out of a rehab coordinator, out of a pitching coordinator, out of a front office. It's Major League Baseball's rules. I do not understand how you come in as the starting pitcher and then leave as the DH. I don't agree with it at all. I think that's the biggest crock of BS when we moved the DH in the National League and this random rule of allowing them to be this DH pitcher, whatever they are. So that's basically it's a rule that you've built to allow for Ohtani to stay in the big leagues as a rehabbing in the pitch and the hit. I don't agree with it, but Ohtani looked great. I've got no issues with Ohtani. Obviously, you're going to see a little wildness, a little here, a little there. That's very normal for your first outing. Like no one, if you were judging that, go F yourself, like, because this should be happening in Rancho Cucamonga. This should be happening on the Dodgers complex for first inning. Like they've shown them doing the little rehab innings before games. That's where this stuff happens. That's why you see like Jerry Hairston going up there in a bats against him. Like the batter he faced before the Padres was Jerry Hairston.
That's a little bit of a drop off
of the Los Angeles Dodgers. This is another case of the Los Angeles Dodgers doing a shitty job with pitching. That's all it is to me. I'm saying this straight up. This is another case of the Dodgers doing a horrible job of managing their pitching. how are we sitting back and wondering why they've had 14 arm injuries, 15 arm injuries this year, like arm injuries. And then they're throwing Shohei Ohtani in his rehab outings against the Padres in a big league game. These are rehab outings. I understand. I've been around Kerry Wood, who was tougher than nails, one of the toughest pitchers ever, and he was struggling in 2006. And the team asked him to go on a rehab assignment on a normal 15-day IL stint, or DL back in the day. And he told him to go F off. And he pitched in the big leagues. Great. This isn't that. This is 300, 400 some odd days since he's been on a mound. This is everything about this is wrong. And I've got I got zero cares anymore about how the Dodgers handle their pitching, because they're choosing to do it the anti of everybody else, and their pitchers are getting hurt.
I think the Dodgers are going to end up getting a major free agent sometime in the next few years that's going to be so under the radar. They're going to just spend $20-30 million in figuring out a way to bring Jeremy Hefner from the Mets to the Dodgers, because the Dodgers are the anti-Mets right now. Everything that the Mets are doing perfectly, the Dodgers are screwing it up. Can you imagine if Jeremy Hefner had some of the arms that the Dodgers brought in? They'd have a 1 ERA.
Some of these Dodgers people, like Mark Pryor is the Dodgers pitching coach, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like he has the greatest job in Major League history. You get to be very mediocre and everybody's getting hurt, and you get to keep your job. Like, these pitchers are pitching below how good they are. They're pitching worse than how good they are. And yet you get to keep your job. That's the how are we looking at this and saying he's doing a better job than what he got him? They're doing worse, and they're staying unhealthy since he's been there. Since I know I'm kind of throwing some shots across the bow right now, but Jeremy Hefner, like a good pitching coach, would have these guys pitching better than they got them, right? This is a very pitcher-friendly ballpark. There's a very pitcher-friendly everything about the Dodgers is perfect for pitching. It always has been. Historically, that's why they kind of have some of the greatest pitchers of all time. That's not by just chance. It's because the Dodgers, the way Chavez Ravine, the way everything is built is for pitching. It's perfect. That's why they don't have guys that are just 500 home run hitters left and right. So Yankees do, and the Yankees haven't had great pitching over the course of their career. They've had a lot of very good. They've never had these pitchers that are just like, oh my God, besides like Goose Gossage, but Goose Gossage pitched for everybody. But even their best pitchers were good. Not like the best of all time. The Dodgers are the best of all time. Like, I'm
trying to think with the Yankees. You got Whitey, you got Garrett Cole. I can't think of too many other guys.
Whitey, Garrett Cole, but you've had the
and we probably lost David here for I think he's back.
No, you lose me a little bit. I don't know why it tells me I'm on Wi-Fi when I'm actually hardwired in. Anyways, but there's never been, there's Whitey Ford back in the day. You've had just some pitchers, but nobody where you're just sitting up there like, all right, top 10 pitchers of all time outside of Mariano.
Right.
Outside of Mariano.
Right.
Top 10 pitchers of all time. And you're hard pressed to find a Yankee on that list, right? You'll go to the Dodgers, you go top 10 pitchers of all time. So there's probably gonna be a couple Dodgers, Sandy's number one on that list, arguably, and like, anyways. But I feel like Mark Pryor's done such a piss poor job with what he's been given, where these guys every one of these guys should be pitching like Paul Skeens in that situation, and they're not, because they're all hurt.
Yeah, it's a bad situation in LA. And can you imagine if Ohtani got hurt again?
I can, because it's going to happen. It's the delivery is built for it, and they're doing nothing to help themselves.
Terrible.
Sorry, you've heard it here first. He's going to get hurt again. It might not be this year. It's going to be soon. And they're doing nothing on a rehab standpoint to prep them outside of the fact that they took forever. That's the only thing that's going to be their saving grace, is that they didn't need him. That's it. And that's not a Dodger thing. That's just because the Dodgers signed everybody.
Yeah.
That wasn't like, hey, we made a great decision here. It's just the Dodgers didn't need him.
Now, let me ask you this from a pitching guru standpoint. When you see a guy who's had 2 Tommy Johns and he's throwing the way he's throwing with that kind of velocity and that kind of movement, are you surprised? Were you expecting something less from him? Is this common?
Tommy John to me is nothing. Tommy John's like You're fine with Tommy John. You'll throw hard. It's just after 2 Tommy Johns, historically, nobody's ever pitched well. That's just it. That's just historically, no one's really stayed healthy and pitched well. You see the stuff. And again, it's one outing, but that's what generally guys kind of like. He's going to be fine. He's going to have his ups and downs, but historically, no one's ever really come back from 2 Tommy Johns and been great. Like Walker Buehler, welcome back from 2 Tommy Johns, and he's 5.4 ERA.
He hasn't been great.
Get it? He has not been good. He hasn't been great. He hasn't been good. He's been bad. He's been piss poor, to be honest.
But that's the difference, though. His velocity never really came back, did it? Like he wasn't throwing as hard as he was prior to the Tommy John. Ohtani's throwing just as hard, and it's got movement. That's why I'm a little surprised. I was not expecting that, to be honest.
Yes, that's the thing, but that's where I believe the waiting has helped. And at the same time, like, because they've taken, let him get really strong. Let me see with Walker Buehler. I don't want to speak for Walker Buehler, but yes, his velocity, he's averaging 94 right now. 2004 was averaging 95. Trying to see if I can get more seasons. Show more seasons. 2020 was 96.8, 96.5. So yeah, he's definitely down.
Yeah, he lost a couple of miles an hour off. Yeah.
But I'm not that surprised that the velocity's there. It's also one inning, and you're amped, and it's a huge inning against the Padres, and he was starting to have some trouble, so he's firing it up. But we'll see over time.
And by the way, before we move on from the Dodgers and their pitching problems, now Roki Sasaki, they shut him down. They have no idea when he's coming back. Exactly. There's another guy.
That's exactly like when you get a guy that rotates as hard as they do with their shoulders, and they're teaching this. A lot of places are teaching this movement because it creates velocity, and it creates movement, it creates the ride, and then it creates the slider. Oh my God, the sweeper, and it creates a whole lot of stress in your shoulders, and you're seeing a whole lot of arm issues because of that. And Roki Sasaki does this, and they're taking their prized prospect and don't even know when he's going to be throwing.
Listen, I'm going to say
no one questioned it. Like, why is nobody's raising this really as a front office question, saying, why are you going down this direction continuously?
I don't know, but
they're ruining every great arm in baseball. They're signing every great arm, and then no one's coming out of Nobody's coming out from the Dodgers better. No. That's my thing. Nobody's leaving the Dodgers a better pitcher than what they got there. And they're taking the past.
If you were going to go to Vegas and you were going to bet on my next statement, would you bet yes or no? Shohei Ohtani will pitch one more season as a starter next season, and that'll be it.
Yes.
I believe that he will be a reliever or a closer after next season.
He'll be pitching. We talked about this before. I just don't think he'll be pitching.
I think he'll be pitching. I think he's too good at it not to, because there's just so much opportunity.
When he hurts his arm, when he hurts his arm again, there's no way a team's going to allow him to step on that mound and understand the loss of capital that when he's rehabbing. Because if he ever goes in the bullpen and gets hurt again, and they're losing this dude hitting, the financial loss is too big. He'll never pitch again. Now, there's a better question: should he go straight to the bullpen now? That's another question, and I don't think that'll ever happen when you have a bat in your hand. Yeah. I don't think he can right now. I think the Dodgers need him too much, and I think they don't want to piss him off. And I think Ohtani desperately wants to be a pitcher more than anything else. He wants to prove that he can do this long term and be the guy that we know he is. Yep.
All right. One more thing about the Dodgers. Did you see this? And we don't really get political too often on here, but I felt the need to bring this up with this girl Nezza, who did the national anthem for the Dodgers. She wanted to do it in Spanish, and because she wanted to protest all the ICE all the people from ICE going in there and grabbing some illegal immigrants and sending them back to wherever they departed from in the first place. And whether or not you are conservative or liberal, whatnot, that's all fine and dandy to me. I don't care. Politically, I don't give a rat's ass. But my biggest problem was that this young lady, Nezza, was a guest in Dodger Stadium. They asked her to sing the national anthem, which is an honor for anybody. She asked, "Can I sing it in Spanish?" They said, "No, please do not do it in Spanish. We don't want you doing it in Spanish." And she decided that I'm going to do that anyway. So as a guest, she basically shit on her hosts and for some reason was wearing a Dominican shirt. Again, got no problem with Dominican people, but national anthem. If you want to sing in Spanish, wear a USA shirt and say, "I'm a proud American and I don't like what we're doing to immigrants, or we should change immigration policy," or something. You have the outlet. But don't do it the way that you did. If they're telling you not to do it and you're a guest, don't do it. And she should be banned. And if I was the Dodgers, I would sue the ever-loving crap out of her for what tantamount equals to misrepresenting the Dodgers and what they want to tell their fans.
I don't know about the whole lawsuit part.
I would sue the hell out of her.
Agree with you. I completely agree with you. When the Dodgers asked you, you are a guest, you're coming to Dodger Stadium to perform a job that they're asking you to perform. And you want to sing in Spanish. Wonderful. That's great for you. We would ask you not to. We don't want that. That is not tonight. That's not our thing. We're just standard national anthem. We love your voice. We love you. Let's do this.
Mexican Pride Night, no problem.
Completely, or when the Dodgers ask you to. Or the Dodgers said yes, go for it. Go for it. If the Dodgers said, "Hey, we want you to sing the national anthem in Spanish," and you said, "No, I want to sing in English," they said, "No, Spanish," and then you sing it in English, I got a problem with that. The problem is that the place that brought you in asked you to do a thing and you didn't, and then you're bitching and moaning. But she knew exactly what she was doing.
Of course she was doing.
This is all for social media. This is all to get attention. I've never heard of this person. I don't care about this person. But right now she just created a tiny little fan base within for a political reason. And she created a name for herself. If the Dodgers said, "Hey, we do not want you to sing in Spanish, don't sing in Spanish," and she said, "No, I want to sing in Spanish," they said, "Sorry, bye." Yeah. And that's the problem. So what this lady just did is created a line where the Dodgers now have to vet people even harder and know exactly what their political motivation is and this before they just walk up and do a job. Just go do a job. You're trying to send a message that the Dodgers didn't care about sending. It doesn't mean the Dodgers don't believe in your message. It just means the Dodgers aren't going to put that place there. So don't crap on the place that wants to bring you in. They're giving you a platform to do a job, and you didn't do it.
And finally, last tiny little itty bitty Dodger note. Who is happier than the owners of the Dodgers today? When you find out that the LA Lakers are worth $10 billion, the Dodgers are got to be a whole lot more today than they were yesterday.
Gotta love it. Every team, every sports franchise has to love it. They were evaluated at $8 million in December, sold for $8 billion, sold for $10 billion.
Talking about the Lakers.
Can I just throw this out there? I know this is a baseball show, but I've seen a video on this, and I sent it to you guys about conspiracy in basketball. The NBA was losing viewers, believe profits were going down, revenue was going down, ESPN was going down, everything was pointing downwards for the NBA. All of a sudden, one of the best young European players ever gets traded in a giant lopsided trade to the flagship franchise. Their valuation goes up. The team who trades them gets the number one pick, even though they had a 1% chance to get the number one pick. All of a sudden, then the Lakers being sold for $2 billion more than what they were worth. Every single owner in the league just made like $1 billion probably each. And the league is now in a much better place than it was yesterday, all because of one giant, massively lopsided trade. That trade was orchestrated by the NBA.
I am completely and utterly embarrassed by you right now, David. You want to talk about this, the $2 billion difference, and you want to talk about how important the Luka Doncic trade was, and that's why they got the extra money. Where is Bronny in all of this? You know that Bronny brought $3 billion more.
Yeah.
Freaking disgrace. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, if you're the Dodgers right now, you're very, very happy. And if you're Magic Johnson, now you know, and now you own everything.
Right? Great, good for him. And you know what? I'm not going to, whatever her name is, Bus, whatever the daughter's name is. Great job.
Yeah.
Incredible job. Like she absolutely did a great job of running that team. And that's how you find out if you're a good owner or not. Did you make money for your team? And she did.
Did you ever watch Winning Time on HBO?
No, I want to. That's the Magic Johnson movie, or
that was the TV show with John C. Reilly as Bus. It's on HBO.
Oh yeah. That's the one about the Lakers. That's the one with Magic Johnson's big in there. And so, yes, I want to watch that.
Dude, it's fantastic. I was so pissed off when it got canceled after 2 seasons. You take my password and watch it. It's definitely worth your time. All right. Finally, we're going to end the show the way that we always end the show, and I've missed it. It's time for Mount Rushmore.
My favorite part of the whole show is to look at the faces.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Alex, can you bring that up again without the music? I just realized something.
I don't know if I can without.
So you can actually see it on the screen. I just realized one thing. The guy on the right of Mount Rushmore, does he play for Boston or the Eights? Like, what's going on over there? You got to love AI, man. AI is awesome, but...
Play it again. The Eights.
Yeah, the Eights. You gotta, and we're not giving problems to our producer. We're not making fun of him.
Alex kills it. It's just AI sometimes. Like, that's just funny.
It's just so funny. I just love the Boston Pirates. That's just great. All right, David, who do we have as our number one entry into Mount Rushmore for the Pittsburgh Pirates?
Number one entry for the Mount Rushmore Pittsburgh Pirates is a player that probably a whole lot of people don't know about his playing career. They only know about his baseball card, which I got to see the other day. This thing it's incredible. It's so funny because it's unassuming, but every baseball person in the world knows it. Every sports card collector in the world knows it. Almost everybody that follows sports knows it. And they probably don't even know his career. They just, the moment you see that card, you're like, money, the most expensive baseball card, sports card in the world. Yep. Honus Wagner.
Good old Honus Wagner. And you are correct. The owner of the most famous baseball card in the world.
Oh, that picture. It just looks like a hoss. Just looks like you know what? He looks like he'd walk into a bar and says, "Punch me," and you're like, "You're drunk, aren't you?" He's like, "I haven't had a drink since a minute ago." You
know who that is? That is the father in the song "A Boy Named Sue."
Yes,
that's what it is. By the way, David, do you know that the Honus Wagner card is mere miles away from you?
No, it's not miles away from me. I'm in Chicago.
Well, okay. Normally,
I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona. Yes, the most famous Honus Wagner card. Yes, because the Hendricks Honus Wagner card, the owner of the Diamondbacks, who Wayne Gretzky used to own the card. He bought it from him, or got it from him, and that's because it's graded. I think it's graded the highest one of all of them. But the Baseball Hall of Fame has 3 of them, by the way.
Oh, only 3.
They have 3 of them.
You couldn't have picked one up for me,
None of them are graded. I asked because we got a private tour by the director of the Hall of Fame, or not. We did the Hall of Fame tour, and then we got a private showing by him where he actually brought out Ichiro cleats, Randy Johnson cleats, Shohei Ohtani's batting stuff from 50-50. No, it wasn't from. It was just Shohei Ohtani stuff. He brought a Jeter jersey, Aaron Judge bat, a home run bat from his rookie year. Actually, it was his first home run, I think it was. And then he brought a Joaquin Soria jersey from when Joaquin Soria broke the record for most saves ever as a Mexican-born pitcher.
Oh, I didn't know he had that record.
Yeah, pretty cool. Because Joaquin Soria was with us. He was one of our coaches. And so he was with us, and they had nothing on David Artsma. But they did bring out our files, our private files. So they have a file on every baseball player in history. And so I have my file, and they brought that out and brought it to me. And so I got to see my file. But they said I can donate anything I want. So I was going to wonder if I can donate the very first ball for my very first win, which put me first ever alphabetical in the history of baseball.
Wait a minute. You're telling me you don't want the lit up bullpen with DA sign in Cooperstown?
Right. I don't think they would take it. But
you said you'd take anything from you.
Yes. If I can refocus on, because this is so fun, this is so cool. Honus Wagner, one of the by far the best Pittsburgh Pirate in history, 8-time batting champion, 1909 World Series champion. He had a 3,400 hits, 391 OPS, 858 for a career OPS. That's on 858 career OPS, 328 career hitter, 131 WAR if we're even going to go off of that, 1,400 RBIs, 639 stolen bases. This dude was incredible. He led the league in doubles 7 times, RBIs 4 times, hits twice, triples 3 times, steals 5 times. This dude, he did absolutely everything.
Who's up next on your list?
Up next is the most famous Pittsburgh Pirate and one of the most incredible, inspirational stories of all time, Roberto Clemente.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Paul Skeens. Roberto Clemente, the man who died way too young, a man who, unfortunately, I don't have any of his baseball cards, and quite frankly, is a legend and a hero to many, many Hispanic ball players. Tell us a little more about Mr. Clemente.
He is not a hero to Hispanic ball players. He is a hero to Latino ball players, and particular Puerto Rican ball players. I don't think a whole lot of Hispanic players are not all that focused on Roberto Clemente. But he ended exactly at 3,000 hits. This dude was incredible. 317 career average. MVP, 2-time World Series champion, World Series MVP, 4 times batting title, 12-time Gold Glover, 15-time All-Star. This dude was amazing from Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico had a hurricane hit. He left after his last game in 1972, got on a plane to give them aid, and with about a whole bunch of stuff, the plane unfortunately crashed on the way there, ending his life. So he was ending his life trying to give other people an opportunity to live and have a chance for to live through a hurricane. Roberto Clemente is amazing. Went to Roberto Clemente Museum in 2015 in Pittsburgh. If you have an opportunity, go to it. So cool. And one of the most amazing pictures is Roberto Clemente in the outfield. They were down in Florida jumping to catch a ball. And it's a real photo. It looks like it's AI, but it looks like it's angel wings behind him, lifting him in the air. And if you have an opportunity, dude, this is the most amazing photo I've ever seen in my life of baseball. There's so many cool moments in this one. If you can just Google it, look up Roberto Clemente Angel Wings, and it is one of the coolest photos ever.
That sounds awesome. I'm going to have to check that out in a minute. You mentioned one thing, that he ended his career with exactly 3,000 hits. So I want to ask the viewers, who is more impressive, the man who ended his career with 3,000 hits or the man who ended it with exactly 69 saves? I know where I'm going, but make sure you like, subscribe, comment, let us know what's better, 69 or 3,000. Moving on, who is number 3, Mr. Ardsma?
Oh, sorry. It was an earthquake, by the way, in Nicaragua is where he was going. Sorry, I always thought it was a hurricane down in Puerto Rico. I apologize. The next guy on the list is somebody you probably don't know the name of. I didn't even know till I became aware of his contribution to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Paul, I don't even know how to say it. Warner.
I believe it's Wainer. Paul Wainer. Very, very early in baseball's what's the word I'm looking for? Existence. In baseball existence. Very, very good player. A whole bunch of top 5 MVPs. I think he had only one MVP. But what I like about this guy the most, do you know what his nickname is?
What was his nickname?
Big Poison.
Love it. By the way, I got to say this. Not safe for work. There was a baseball player in the Hall of Fame with his nickname is Cum. Yep. We took a lot of photos with that black. Was his stuff right next to Rusty Kuntz? Oh my gosh. Did not think of that, but that would been incredible. Paul Wainer, you're talking about MVPs, MVP 12, MVP 1, 15, 7, 4, 2, 24, 5, 8. If you look, I mean, this is kind of the separation. Like he's had a lot of, again, baseball reference, a lot of black spots where you're leading the league. He had a lot of spots early on in his career where he was leading the league in a lot of stuff, a 373 average, 380 average, 217 hits, 237 hits one year, but not a whole ton. And so he ended up having a great career, but not like absolutely ridiculous career. But again, 1,100 RBIs, batting title 3 different times, 4-time All-Star, MVP. He's that second generation. Honus Wagner, that early Pirate teams were just insane. And then that second generation, then you had the Roberto Clemente era after that. And then the next one will fill out the gap after that.
Oh, that's not true because you're missing a gap between the Clemente gap and the next guy. But let's go to the next guy, probably the most unassuming, nicest ball player, the guy that you'll never hear anything bad about. And I believe that would be Mr. Andrew McCutchen.
Nope.
You're not having Kutch isn't on the list?
Nope, he is not.
I'm shocked. I'm sorry. I take it all back. Who's the last guy on your list?
The guy in that you think I missed, Willie Stargell.
Oh my God, you are 100% right. How did I forget about Willie Stargell? Look at this man, the mustache, he is 70s baseball.
His 70s baseball. Like when I grew up thinking Pirates baseball, this is who I remembered. It just looked like a monster to me. All the pictures of that looked like just a monster at the plate. I wouldn't want to face him. MVP, 2-time World Series champion, 7-time All-Star, World Series MVP, Major League Baseball Player of the Year, and the winner of the Roberto Clemente Award, which is the Mr. Good Guy Award, which is as a player that is the highest award you can get in baseball. I think a lot of people respect that more than the MVP award amongst baseball players. This dude was just Mr. All-World, absolute stud.
How much would you love to be in a room where it's just him and Willie McCovey and Bob Gibson just talking baseball?
That'd be great. Well, again, and I had the opportunity to talk baseball with Willie Mays, like that. Willie Mays in there. I would love to have that earlier generation too, like the Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, and just hear about life in baseball.
Especially from the black players who had to deal with a lot of crap and just see how they've morphed, because, you and I know a lot of black baseball players now, and, black baseball players, they're a little different. They just are. They share
have to go through different life.
Yeah. And they show much more camaraderie. I don't know about you, but it seems to me that every black baseball player knows every black baseball player, and they make sure that they do everything they can to support each other.
It's great. I love it.
It's awesome. I love it.
Something I'm not a part of. I wish I was.
Yep. And I guess the next guy, the first man out, is the guy that I thought should be in there that I was wrong about. But he would be an interesting guy to talk amongst those guys. So I think the next guy is Kutch.
First man out is Kutch. It has to be Kutch. Again, you make an argument for a lot of players, but I like to have players from different generations on this list. There's definitely guys that could be there from older times, like even a Ralph Kiner, even though he didn't play there a whole lot. A Barry Bonds, who you will get this on this list a little bit later, and some of those players from earlier generations. But Kutch has definitely brought in a new wave of fandom to Pittsburgh Pirate lore and history, and very close to making this list. But again, just enough away to he would have to have this remarkable rebirth of his career. I don't see it coming, but an MVP, 1 Gold Glove, 4-time Silver Slugger, 5-time All-Star of Roberto Clemente award winner, 2,200 hits over the course of his career. Obviously, that spent some time with some other places, but the cornerstone of what the franchise became once he came into the league in 2009, the rebirth of the Pittsburgh Pirates, he was there front and center for a lot of it.
And I don't know why, but when I think about Andrew McCutchen, for some reason, I think about Tim Duncan, because they just remind me, they're both like this nice, unassuming, really good, not going to get in trouble, great for the clubhouse type of guy.
Yeah, and you think about this too, is like his trade brought in Brian Reynolds. So like even moving him brought in the next wave of the best position player they've had. And so it's just, again, the smile, the swagger. I loved playing against him. I hated giving up a home run to him, but I loved playing against him.
Have you had a chance to have any conversations with Kutch?
Not really.
No. He's a really, really nice guy. I've always I haven't had a lot of conversation with him, but every single time he's just really respectful. He doesn't have an air of arrogance at all. And for a guy like that, I was pretty surprised that he didn't. All right, David, finally, who's the guy who could make it if he continues?
Pretty easy one. And if he keeps going on the road he's going, he will be making this list pretty easily, I think. Mr. Paul Skeens.
No chance in hell. Zero. He's not going to be playing for him in 2 years. There's no way he gets on their Mount Rushmore after 3 years of being a Pirate. Because they're not going to re-sign him. They're not going to keep him. And if I was, we've discussed this, they could potentially trade him this year. I don't think it's going to happen, but every GM is going to call for him. But there's no chance he's making this Mount Rushmore because he won't be there long enough.
That's the only thing that's going to stop him, or a crazy arm injury or something. But the dude's start to his career is historic, and somehow his sophomore slump is better than his rookie year. 1.97. Let's run through the numbers. 1.96 ERA his rookie year, 11-3. He was an All-Star. He was Cy Young number 3 as a rookie pitcher. MVP 19, a Rookie of the Year, which was arguably a great conversation between him and Jackson Merrill. Both of them could have won it. I actually had my money on Merrill just because I thought he had a better, more
complete season.
No, I think he had more impact on his team. I think
he played the whole season.
Well, no, I think his every day in the lineup mattered more to the Padres than Skeens mattered to the Pirates. Skeens was a great player. And even if Skeens was there from day one, they don't make the playoffs. Jackson Merrill, if he's not there day one, they don't make the playoffs. And I think that mattered more. And so, but again, that's neither here nor there. Jackson Merrill, great career. We'll talk about him later. 133 innings pitched that year. This year, 2.79 ERA. He is 4-6. It's crazy that his ERA keeps going down and his wins don't go up. He's leading the league in WAR. He's leading the league in WAR as a starting pitcher, second-year guy. And does he even have a full year under his belt yet? I don't even think he does. It's amazing. But you know what, Paul Skeens, if you keep playing for the Pirates, you will be on that list.
Now, if he keeps playing for the Pirates, though, I still don't think he makes the list because I would put Libby Dunn on the list on the Mount Rushmore before him because that's probably where he's getting his power. Let's call it what it is. But I digress. David, it was really fun doing a show with you. I missed doing a show with you these last 10 days.
It's been a little bit. Too long.
But I'm glad to see the pictures that you're sending me from your vacation. It is driving me crazy seeing how big the boys are, and I haven't seen them in 2 years. That is the craziest thing. Can't wait to see them. Hopefully we do it in Seattle. Other than that, I guess we'll talk to you next week, right?
Absolutely.
All right, buddy. Everybody, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment, and let us know who's more important, Mr. 3000 or Mr. 69. I'm going Mr. 69. Talk to you later.